you're recording.
Okay. We will call to order the Green Bay Sex Offender Residency Board meeting. The first thing we need to do is roll call.
I have captured roll call.
Okay. Then I need an approval of the agenda for the September 15th meeting. Who made the motion?
I think I did. Say.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
I
Okay. We need an approval of the minutes from the August 18th meeting. Is there a motion?
I'll move that we accept the minutes from the August 18th meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Our regular business, the first appeal we are hearing is Patrick Colthorn. Is that correct? How you say your name? Cawthorn. Okay. You are requesting to move to 490 Polaris Road. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. This is your first time appearing before the board. We'll ask you a series of questions. The one thing that we do ask is that you not state the victim's name or relationship. Okay? All right. So the first thing is it looks like you're still currently incarcerated.
Correct.
And what is your scheduled release date?
My MR is January 9th, 2022.
Okay. Can I ask why you're applying so early?
I'm just trying to get everything in order.
Heidi, this is Deanna. I asked the prison how soon they wanted him on the board, and they said they wanted him on as soon as possible, so they had an idea of where he was gonna go, in case they had to find another location. So they wanted him on pretty quickly.
Okay. Okay. All right, so Patrick, we're gonna ask you if you could go ahead and explain what you were arrested for and the circumstances surrounding the arrest, how everything came to light.
I was arrested for possession of child pornography. They had run some kind of thing online, keeping track of people downloading files. And a month after the file was downloaded and deleted, I was arrested.
And how long were you doing that for?
That was, do you mean downloading that stuff?
Yes.
That was the first time I had downloaded that.
Had you been looking at it previously?
No,
So you did it one time? Okay. And what caused you to start looking at that?
I was in a sexless marriage with my wife, and I was looking for pictures of teenage girls that looked like my wife when I met her.
Okay. And is it correct that was through Winnebago County?
Correct.
Okay. And it looks like we have a representative from the Green Bay Police Department. I'm sorry, are you sergeant, captain?
No, I'm a lieutenant. My name's Lieutenant DeGoon, and I apologize. First time at this meeting, so if you need anything, just let me know.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know, do you have access to the Winnebago court records? Like,
I have the criminal complaint.
is what he's telling us accurate?
No,
No. Okay, could you tell us where he's not accurate?
he kind of made it sound like that there was just a single file that he had downloaded. Looks like the detective took a statement from him, in which he said that he'd been doing it for 5 years. That he had downloaded thousands of files. He was doing searches for teen chubby girls using the PTHC for preteen hardcore and PTSC for preteen softcore after the searches. But he's admitting to thousands of files in his statement here.
Okay, thank you. Patrick, can you explain that discrepancy?
I wasn't looking at those kind of files. I was looking at pornography. The reason why that there were so many files that were on there is because they were a zip file. I did not view the zip files. I deleted them. None of this stuff was actually on my computer other than in the being deleted. So I had deleted that. I didn't look at any of that stuff.
But you just also told us you did it one time, but then in the detective's or the lieutenant's statement, it says that you said you did this for 5 years.
I've been looking at porn for 5 years. It became rather obsessive. But when I'm talking about I'm looking at like girls that are 18 years old. This is the first time that I had ever actually seen one that wasn't 18 years old. However, I deleted that.
Okay.
Could I clarify?
Lieutenant,
Sure.
did you say that it was PTH?
C and PTSC for
And that
preteen.
means preteen,
Preteen hardcore and preteen softcore.
and that was for the last 5 years?
With the line from his statement, I can just read it verbatim from the criminal complaint. And
Yes.
these are his words. I've had a problem with looking at child pornography starting about 5 years ago. And then when we're talking about, he said that he had downloaded some of the files, but he hadn't viewed them. His statement reads, I then downloaded at least 1,000 files of child pornography. There were videos and images, and they were initially downloaded to my laptop computer. And then I transferred them to my external hard drive. I looked at some of those images once or twice, and then I deleted those files because it's wrong to have child pornography. So he admits to downloading at least 1,000 files of child pornography, both in videos and images, and then not only watching a few of them, but then transferring them from his laptop to his external hard drive.
Thank you. Patrick,
Yes,
what do you have to say to that?
I don't really remember much of that day. I know that I was asked to sign something. I don't know the specifics of it.
Do any of the board members have any questions regarding this?
It says that there were initially 9 counts, but he pled guilty to 1. Can that be explained? Do you know how that happened?
Are you asking me?
I guess yes.
I had a plea agreement of the images that were, I did not recognize any of them, and I had not viewed them. The video, which was the reason for my arrest, after I saw what its content was, I could admit that I have seen part of it.
Does that answer your question, Faye?
Yes, it does, yes.
Okay. Any other questions from the board members regarding in the files?
I have a question. I don't see any treatment.
Oh, hold on, Faye. Patrick,
Yes,
would like to discuss your treatment, and you have the option to do that in closed or public session. What would you prefer?
I mean, if there is a treatment program that they want me to take, I will take it.
Well, first you have to tell me whether you want to talk about this in public or private session.
Well, I'd rather be private, but
Okay, well, we can do that, which means everybody that's currently in the audience will have to leave, and then we will talk to you about your treatment. That's what you would like?
yes,
Okay. Can I get a motion to move into private session?
So moved.
Is there a second? I'll second that motion. All right, we're gonna enter into closed session. Deanna, you'll close everybody out.
Yeah, I'm gonna move everybody to a waiting
We need
room.
to vote, we need to vote on
Okay,
that
vote.
motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can I get a motion to, or is everyone in favor to move into closed session? Say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay.
All right, I'm gonna put everybody in a waiting room, just a moment. Okay, that looks like everybody's in the waiting room. You can proceed.
So, Patrick, we'd like to talk to you about it. We'll move back into public session.
Okay, give me a minute, I'll admit everybody back in.
Faye,
Okay.
did you want to go ahead and ask the question that you had?
It was my understanding that wherever the crime was took place, that's where the defendant was sent back to. Now, it looks like it took place in Winnebago, but you are asking to live in Green Bay. Can you
Correct.
explain that?
Before I was incarcerated, my residence is actually, on my driver's license is 490 Flores Road. The place where I lived, which was with my family, they sold that house. So I actually don't have any place to live down there.
And that's where the crime was committed, is in the house that was in Winnebago?
Yes.
Okay. Does anyone from the board have any questions for him? Otherwise, I do believe he's got somebody that wants to speak on his behalf. Okay. I believe Gary wants to speak on Patrick's behalf. Is that correct, Gary?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Could you please just go ahead and state your name and address for the record, please?
Okay, Gary Codler, 490 Polaris Road, Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Okay. What would you like to say?
Well, you have my letter of support, I presume.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to emphasize that he doesn't have any resources other than his family, meaning us. And as I stated, we're aware of what his offenses were, and we still welcome him into our home. We believe he's not a threat, that he's genuinely sorry. He's tried to pursue therapy and improvement in prison. Some of it was ended because of COVID-19 protocols. Because I might add, at sentencing, the judge in Oshkosh said that he had looked over things and he felt that the sentence was overly harsh, but he had no choice because of the statute requiring a minimum sentence. Initially, the charge was 9 counts of child pornography, and they settled on 1. And the judge still felt that it was a harsh penalty. And then the other thing is that, again, we're his only resource. We can offer him a place to live, reconstruct his life, help him with transportation, therapy, education, that sort of thing. That's why it's so critical to get him up to Green Bay. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. It looks like Randy also wants to speak on his behalf. Is Randy present?
Randy is my wife, and I speak for her.
Okay, thank you. Does the board have any questions for Gary? Okay. Does,
May I ask, when will you make a decision?
probably very shortly.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. Does the board have any further questions for Patrick? Does the board have any discussion they would like to talk about before maybe a vote, or a motion is made? Well, I'm going to give you my 2 cents worth. So my first concern is, your release date is pretty far away, and I think a lot can happen from now until January of 2022.
Can I mention one thing?
Sure.
I do have the ability to apply for 85%, which was in July. So I am going to, after I find out whether or not I would be able to live with my parents, apply for 85% to my judge.
So then when would that allow you to be released?
After I submit it, I should have a answer within 45 days.
Okay. All right. That was my first concern. My second concern is the fact that it is Winnebago County. We have, in my opinion, enough sex offenders in our own community that we're trying to locate, and I typically am uncomfortable having someone from another county come in. My third concern is that you've been incarcerated for a while, you have not had any treatment whatsoever. I just don't feel comfortable throwing you right back into the community. I think it would be a little bit more beneficial for you to stay in a transitional living program for a little while and then possibly come back and see how you're doing. Have you gotten a job? How you're reacting back into the community. So that's kind of where I'm feeling right now. Does anyone else have any feelings?
I would agree with that.
I would also agree, and this, I would feel more comfortable too if there was some treatment.
Dominique?
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of hard to judge without any sort of treatment and really in depth about whether or not he has any contrition or remorse about everything, whether or not he's being 100% truthful about his desires and everything else.
Okay. All right. Based on that, is there anyone who would like to make a motion? Okay, well, I'm going to make a motion to deny Mr. Cawthorn to 490 Polaris Road, address specific. Would there be a second?
I will second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, Mr. Cawthorn, at this time to reside at 490 Polaris Road. That's not stating that in the future you can't come back and reapply, but your circumstances would have to change. You kind of heard what some of our concerns are and what we would be looking for, so.
Well, if you talk to any of the social workers or to any of the people who actually have been helping me psychologically, you would get a better idea of actually and I really don't like talking about it. I want it to go away. I understand that I am registered for the next 17 years, which is going to be hard for me to move forward, even though I want to. And I want to be there for my kids, but I won't be able to be there the way I want to be. And I know that because of what I did, being selfish, but I was in a different place then. I didn't know that I had psychological problems. I'm now on depression meds and also anti-anxiety meds, and it's helped me a lot. That's why I have been able to look forward and try to find a way to move on. And this was the first step, was getting a grounding so that I have a place to live. And then from there, I will go out into the community. I will get a job. I will be productive. I will be the perfect person on my extended supervision, which is for 3 years. I will follow everything. If I want to see my kids in some play, if I have to go and talk to the school about it with my PO, I am willing to do that so that I kids' lives. I have upended them. I felt like I betrayed my wife, but that's different. But
I understand all of what you just said. Those are things that if you want to come back before us in the future, those are things that you should talk about, and those are things that you should have documentation that you have addressed those issues. Okay? All right, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, next on the agenda is the appeal of William Antopenko Jr. requesting to move to 2245 Imperial Lane. Mr. Antopenko, are you on?
I believe so.
Okay, so this is your first time coming before the board.
Yeah.
So we are gonna ask you to tell us about what you were arrested for, the circumstances surrounding the arrest, and please don't mention the victim by name or by relationship. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So you're currently living in on James Street in De Pere, is that correct?
Yeah, that was the Ennis Hotel, and today was my last day there.
Okay. And so you're looking to move to 2245 Imperial Lane, and please tell us what you were arrested for and how it got brought to the police's attention.
So I was in a really bad motorcycle accident, and it took me a little over a couple years to walk again. During that time, I got addicted to pain meds, marijuana. I was drinking heavily. I battled with all the depression. I was put on Zoloft and lithium and trazodone. So I was mixing all these drugs, and then when I had to get more pain pills and I came up dirty, I started having my kids pee in cups for me. The original charges were sexual assault, because when the mother found out, my kids were also watching adult content, and some of the things that they described is what they watched in videos on cable TV or whatever. I rented movies from Time Warner Cable, and they got into them, and after a while, it kept them occupied, because I was down in the garage doing my drugs and drinking and using fentanyl patches I was getting from the doctor. So anyway, I was originally charged with sexual assault, and then after the forensic interview and the medical report and stuff like that was negative, the DA dismissed those charges and recharged me with child enticement for bringing my kids from one room into the bathroom for having them pee in a cup. And I was charged with and convicted on child enticement. I was sentenced to them and 10 years of supervision. I'm not a special bulletin need.
I cannot open it.
I'm not
No, it's a different page. My key fits in, but it won't.
You know, is there any way you can get him out of our room? Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Sorry, go ahead, William.
And since I was released on May 18th, I went to the transitional living over on Shawano, and from there I went to the hotel. I got a really good job. I drive dump truck for a construction company. I have 285 hours of treatment, and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I don't have police contact. I'm open and honest with my PO. I tell my PO everything. I mean, there's times I call my PO and tell her how I'm feeling, and you know, just open communication. And my oldest son Billy, he's going to be saying something during the meeting. One of my mom's best friend, after she passed away, she kind of stepped in. Jan, she kind of stepped in and been a mother figure for me. And, you know, so I do have family and friends support. And I'm just asking to live here on Imperial Lane for now and, you know, continue with my life and, you know, hopefully someday, you know, have contact with my kids again.
So I just want to clarify this. So when you said you were having your children watch adult content movies, are they watching porn or what was the adult content?
The adult content was they weren't X-rated movies, but they showed nudity and so I rented them from Time Warner Cable on the whatever channels you can rent on Time Warner Cable, like softcore porn or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. It wasn't all hardcore porn.
Okay. And then, so where did the actual sexual assault come into play that you said later was dismissed?
When the moms found out and they started questioning the kids, they started describing things that they saw in the movies. So when the mother called the police, she assumed that I was sexually assaulting them, which, like I said, after the forensic interview and the medical examiner's report and stuff all came back negative, and then with other witnesses that were at the house and stuff, the DA dismissed those charges and then recharged me with child enticement.
Okay. And so they charged you with the child enticement because you had your children pee in a cup for you?
Because I took them from one room into the bathroom. My youngest son, all I had to do was show him one time and he did it on his own. But my daughter was 6 at the time, so I had to help her and hold the cup and stuff, and you know, basically I was touching her vagina it wasn't for gratification or sexual contact or whatever. It was to hold the cup there and stuff. So when they asked her if I was touching her there, you know, she said yeah, because he was holding the cup. Okay. Yeah.
Lieutenant Bagoon, is that accurate? Oh, you're on mute. Yeah,
My apologies.
that's okay.
William, what year were you born?
1968.
Okay. The one that I have in front of me when I reached out to the Brown County District Attorney's Office is different. Now, there's a couple different William Antipangos that I wanted to make sure that I had the right case. So I'm looking at a case from July 1st of 2007, in which basically what happens is that a female that had reached the age of 16 years old but was not yet an adult, she was half-brother, she was the girlfriend of your half-brother, and you had sex with her basically during a party after you both had been drinking. And it's significantly different than the child enticement case.
That's a different case. That was 2008, and that was a misdemeanor case, and I pled guilty to that, and you know I didn't deny any of that. The case that I'm talking about is the recent case that I was charged I was charged or convicted in June 15th of 2015, June 16th, 2016, or 2015, sorry.
Do you have that?
I can probably get it in a couple seconds.
Okay. Okay. William, while he's searching for that, just to prepare, when we talk about treatment, do you want to do that in closed or public session?
That's, whatever's fine.
Okay, we'll remain in public session then.
Okay.
And while he is looking for that, I guess I will just ask some questions. So you partook in some treatment while you were incarcerated?
Yes, ma'am.
And where did you do that at?
Oshkosh Correctional.
Okay, and what type of treatment program was it?
It was a treatment thing, SO4, I believe.
Okay, and how long did you take that for?
285 hours, so it's a little over a year.
Okay.
So is that about half of what the class is? So you didn't complete the class, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
It's about half?
Yeah, a little more than half, yes.
And why did you not complete it?
I passed a baked potato at the supper table, and it became a big issue with the other group members for holding people accountable.
Could you say that one more time?
I passed a baked potato at the supper table.
What did that have to do with not finishing the class?
Well, so the treatment part of it, all my homework and everything was done and completed on time and everything. On the unit that I was on, they expect inmates to hold each other accountable, and I passed a baked potato at the supper table, and another group member witnessed it, and it went south from there, because when he pointed that out, I pointed out all the stuff that he was doing behind everybody else's back, and it just went back and forth, and it became a big old mess.
So you were removed from the group, SO4 group? Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Yes.
And since you have been released, you haven't partook in any classes here in town?
No, I haven't.
And is there a reason why?
I haven't had an assessment or anything yet since I've been out.
Are you scheduled for an assessment?
Currently not yet.
When would that take place?
That had to be set up through my agent.
And are they working on it?
I believe so.
When were you released
May 18th?
of this year?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you
Already,
find it?
yes, I did.
Okay.
So, and I apologize, I had to go through it fairly quickly. The initial allegation included that the gentleman before the board had put his penis in underhand. That came up to the forensic interview. She was able to point to that on the anatomical doll, describe what happened. The pornography was also included as part of this, and that seems to be pretty close, from what I could tell, to what William was talking about.
So he put his penis in a girl's mouth, is what you're saying?
Yes, the original charges that were forwarded over to the district attorney's office included first-degree sexual assault of a child, It doesn't look like he was convicted of that, but that was one of the initial allegations in the case.
William, what do you have to say to that?
Like I said, what they described is I didn't put my penis in anybody's mouth. All that was what they described that they saw in the videos, and when they had him give him the dolls and stuff, in the transcripts, one of them describes one of the person that they describe is actually one of the person in the video. They don't even describe me.
Lieutenant, is there any documentation on that? That it's through the movies?
It appears that part of the case was that they found subscriptions to Hustler, like a paid subscription to that. That could be in reference to what he was referring to as far as the videos. As far as getting to the specifics of what happened during the forensic interviews with the girls and kind of the disposition, I'd probably have to go further into it and look at the actual criminal case. I wouldn't be able to provide that to the board right now.
Okay, thank you.
I guess I have a concern in, he was assigned to take the SO4 class, which, 2-year class, and it's a more intensive class. And he did not finish it, and has not had any treatment since he's been out. That is worrisome to me.
I would have to agree with you, Faye.
I have a question, and I'm sorry if I missed this. Have you gotten any AODA or any other type of drug treatment program, since you said that a lot of this had to do with you being on pain meds and marijuana?
Part of AODA, anger management stuff, is all part of SO4. I don't have a problem with getting an assessment and continuing any kind of treatment out here in the community. I would like whichever recommended, I'll do.
Any other board member have any questions?
Sorry, you said back then that you were on psych meds. Have you continued to see a therapist or a psychiatrist? Are you still taking any type of psych meds right now?
No, I'm not. I'm not on no medication.
Is that through your own doing, or did you see a psychiatrist and get taken off of them?
I seen a psychiatrist and got taken off of them because they were basically they were making me worse and better. I'm doing a lot better without being on medications. I can think clearly. I can hold a good job. I stay focused. And my job is you have to stay focused driving a dump truck.
Anything else from the board members? Otherwise, I do believe he has somebody that wants to speak on his behalf. Okay, Jan Compton?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. If you could just please state your name and address for the record, please.
Yeah, it's Janice Compton, 800 Liebman, Liebman Court, Apartment 2, Green Bay.
Okay. And how do you know Mr. Antopenko?
I was his mother's good friend.
Okay. And what would you like to say on his behalf?
Well, all I know is when he got out of prison, he left prison with nothing. No family, no connections, anything like that. He's struggled, found himself a good job. And 3 years ago, Linda died, his mother, and that hit him really hard. I would imagine it would hit anybody in prison pretty hard, but he took it badly. I think that him on the outside, he's sincere when he says, he's gonna make a life for himself. He's gonna do better in everything he does. He's shown to me that he has. And I think once he can get into an apartment, now that he's got a good job, he's definitely on the right track. That's,
Okay.
yeah, thank you.
Yep. Any questions from the board? For Ms. Kempton? Okay. Is there a Billy Antopenko who also wants to speak? No? Okay. Any discussion from the board before somebody would like to make a motion? I do agree with Faye, about the treatment. It, is a little bit vague, and you have been out for a little bit. You don't really have an assessment anywhere in the near future. I think that, at least for me, I'd feel more comfortable knowing that you have a little bit more treatment. That's where I feel at this moment. Anybody else?
I have a question. That you're working full-time, I know they put in a lot of hours this time of year. Is there some way, as far as your treatment, is that gonna interfere, or is that gonna work out?
They have, I do believe they have treatment at night for guys that work, first shifts. I do believe they do have treatment for, guys that, you know, can go at nighttime.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a motion from anybody? Or any further discussion?
I'm going to move to deny.
Is there a second on that? I will second that motion.
Oh my God. Oh, I'm sorry.
Excuse me. Yes, could you keep your comments? Thank you. Okay, we have a motion on the table for denying Mr. Antopenko to 2245 Imperial Lane. All in favor to deny? Aye. Opposed? Rachel, did that vote all go through? Do you have it? Okay, so Mr. Antopenko, at this moment, you're denied to reside at 2245 Imperial Lane, apartment number 1. I think you heard our concerns as to why we're denying you. So I think my suggestion would probably to get an assessment and enroll in some treatment, and then you can always reapply. Okay?
So what am I supposed to do or go until then?
You might want to have a discussion with your agent.
I've had 285 hours of treatment. And I don't, you know, whatever.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is the appeal of Robert Lavat requesting to move to 1199 and a half Shawano Avenue. Mr. Lavat, and we are on. Okay, so Mr. Lavat, we saw you back in June, and at that time we approved you to live at 1199 and a half Shawano Ave for 90 days and requested you to come back before the board. We wanted to see how you were doing in treatment. Are you all right to discuss your treatment in public session, or would you prefer private?
Public's fine.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and tell us where you're at with your treatment right now, and how you feel it's going, and what you learned?
I am currently through Hanger Enterprises. Pablo is my facilitator. I go there every week, Wednesday, 3 to 5. right now, I'm working on, it's called, this is the assault cycle. We have pre-assault, pre-assault, which I've already worked on, and right now we are doing the build-up phase, which is 40 thought, feelings, and behavior links, for a little bit of time from the time I see my victim to, right before the assault happened. It's taken me a little bit long because I have 2 different cases dealing with that. And Pablo understands, and it's sort of work at your own pace. But I've been to treatment, I just got a new probation officer. I was talking to her. She knows where I was at. So I'm trying to get my new probation officer updated and let him know where I'm at with that also. So it's taken a little while with my new one though. I just seen him this last Monday, so.
Okay. And the letter that you provided with your packet, they indicated that you're generally consistent in attendance. What does that mean? Like, have you been missing a lot?
I missed two sessions. One was due to a COVID scare. I was actually quarantined because of a test, and the other one, I was literally throwing up and bedridden for like 3 days. It was two different times, During that time, though, as I could, I let my facilitator know, and my PO did know about it. So that's what he means by that. I did miss 2 sessions.
Okay. Any questions from the board regarding his treatment? I'd just like to throw out that, so we did approve you for the 90 days, and, you did comply with what we had asked. Sounds like you're gaining some experience and knowledge through your treatment, which is always a big plus, and the fact that you're attending weekly. So I wouldn't have an issue with approving you permanently at this address. Any other feedback from the board?
So I would agree.
Is there anyone who would like to make a motion?
I will, move address specific to 1199 and a half Shawano Avenue.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Mr. Lovat, you are approved to stay at 1199 and a half Shawano Avenue. If you do decide to move from there, you will have to come back before the board again.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, next on the agenda is the appeal of Christopher Charlier, requesting to move to 334 and a half South Chestnut. Mr. Charlier, I see you're on the phone. It looks again like you were also seen with us in June. We requested or granted you to stay at this address for 90 days and come back to see if you've been able to get into treatment. As we discuss this, are you okay to stay in public session, or would you prefer to go into private session?
I'm okay with public.
Okay, so, did you get enrolled into treatment?
Yes, I did. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I am currently seeing Jim Drake for through Family Services right now.
And how long have you been going there?
Last session, like 90 days, probably like 2 weeks later. 2 weeks after our last meeting.
Okay, and how often then do you see him?
I see him once every other week.
Okay. So roughly, it looks like about 4 times you've seen him?
about that 4 or 5, yeah.
Okay. And how do you feel those sessions are going?
Good. Right now we're working on relationship strategies and stuff like that to help me have kind of like better relationship coping skills and all that stuff. I know in the next couple sessions we're going to be learning how to or do a prevention plan for sex offending. So we're going to start doing that soon too, to create a prevention plan. So, but things are good.
Okay. And how long are you going to be seeing him?
As long as either he thinks I'm good or I feel good, you know, as long as it takes.
Okay. And I know that last time you told us that you were seeing a counselor for depression. Are you still doing that?
I had one scheduled through Family Services as well. I forgot her name, but it was a girl, and there was a woman, and at that time I found out about Jim Drake through my PO. So then and who's also at Family Services. So I contacted Jim Drake and I asked him, I said, do you think I should just continue with the other girl as well? Because I haven't seen her yet. And he said, no, we can just do it all together here. So I've been seeing him for the same thing too.
Okay.
Covering all the bases.
Right. Are you on any medication for the depression?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay.
That's what me and my counselor have been talking about. I'm actually going to schedule a doctor's or to see a doc to maybe get referred to some meds for depression.
Okay. All right. And are you still working on American Foods?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good. Any other questions from the board? Okay. Well, again, we had approved you a few months back, and we requested you to come back and provide us information on your treatment. It sounds like things are going well for you. So I'm satisfied that you have met our requirements that we had asked of you. Don't know how any of the other board members may feel.
I agree with that.
All right. If there's not any further discussion, would somebody like to make a motion?
I move that we approve, I'm sorry, how do you pronounce your last name?
Charlier, kind of like with Leslie.
I move that we approve Mr. Charlier to permanently live at 334.5 Chestnut Avenue.
Correct.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Mr. Charlier, you approved to permanently stay at 334.5 South Chestnut Avenue. Again, if you decide to move, you will need to come back before the board.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Do we have any further discussion for the board that we have to discuss? Well, Lieutenant Seguin, thank you for your assistance today. Appreciate it. Any other discussion that we need to have amongst the board? Otherwise, our next meeting is scheduled for October 20th, 2021 at 4 o'clock. Okay. Does somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Oh, excuse me, I need a second.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, great. So we'll see everybody October 20th.
All right, bye guys.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Good night.
Good night.
But